Welcome back to part 7 of setting up the Centre of Excellence within a Dataverse for Teams environment. As mentioned previously, in this part we're going to discuss setting up the Power BI dashboard. Now this is a pivotal fork in the road as to what you would do if we were doing this in a production environment versus a Dataverse for Teams environment. And that is because there are two versions of the Power BI dashboard in the exported CoE starter kit zip, one that's intended for a production environment and the other that's intended for the Teams environment. So a key prerequisite to this is that the Teams version connects to Microsoft Dataverse using the TDS endpoint, and therefore that has to be enabled at the environment level. So that's the first thing we're going to do. So we're going to come over to one of our favorite URLs, which is aka.ms/ppack, or Power Platform Admin Center for short. And within here, we are going to locate our environments by clicking on Environments on the left. We want to go into our Microsoft Teams Dataverse environment, which we called CoE. And then once within here, we should be able to go into the features of the environment. So I'm gonna click on See All.
Motion detected at the front door.
In fact, we're going to click on Settings. I always forget which one to do. I'm going to click on Features. So Settings, Features. Let's just go back. Settings. Although I've just noticed that this is a massively trimmed down set of options, but it does say only certain settings are available for Microsoft Teams environments. So I've got a sneaking suspicion it might actually already be on or not able to get to, because it definitely would be under Settings, Product, Features, and then it would be within here. So it may be that it's, even though the Microsoft documentation suggests it may be that you don't have it. Although what you see here could also be dependent on what permissions you have. But just to prove the point, we'll click on Environments. We'll come to one of our other environments. And then within here, Settings. And then under Product, we'll go to Features. We were looking for this one here. So it makes me think that because that is the only means that you would be able to use to connect to such an environment, it's probably already on. So we'll go as if that's fine. The next prerequisite you're going to want to be mindful of is that this all relies on the sync flows having runs to generate the data that the Power BI dashboards will ultimately use. So we're just going to take a look at that. So I'm going to come back into our solution and I'm just going to click on the sync template v3. But if you remember in a previous video, these can take some time to run. Although we can see that that's succeeded. So we'll carry on as if all of these have succeeded, but the critical point is that if you come to look in your dashboard and you find that you're missing data, if you find the flow that's kind of along the lines of the missing data, such as is it showing desktop flows, you're best off to come and double check that the flow that would collect that data to visualize in Power BI has actually successfully at least run once. If the data is not fresh, then you're going to want to make sure it's not only run, but run recently. Next, we're going to want to get the org URL, which normally you could get by way of the Power Platform Admin Center, but due to it being a Dataverse for Teams environment, we come into Teams, come into Power Apps, select an app associated with the Centre of Excellence environment. So to be honest, we only have the one. You'll then from Build So we've got that selected, and then in About, click on Session Details and take the instance URL from here. We're going to leave this part here and resume in another part 7 as we move on over into the Power BI desktop app. So before starting the next video, do ensure that you've already got the Power BI desktop app downloaded, as we'll be working in that application next.